Yes, wolves. Because of your
Oh
Instagram
yes.
thing, you post this stuff about protecting wolves.
Yeah.
They don't need protection, my man.
Why?
Let me tell you something about these wolves. These wolves are badass. I'm a bow hunter. I'm a hunter. I love animals. You probably think I don't. People, it's a misconception that people who hunt don't care about animals. That we're just cold-hearted killers and
Very Neanderthalish.
very much. I respect and love animals to a level that non-hunters don't usually get to. It's a high level of respect and love. And what comes along with that is education. And a lot of these groups that are trying to get you to not hunt and not participate in certain activities like that, they're not fully informed, and they're based on emotions and not science. Wolves are badass. They're beautiful. They're just gorgeous animals. We almost extradited them. We almost extradited them in America a long time ago. They were almost extinct. We tried getting rid of coyotes too. Coyotes are even badasser. Those are bad. Coyotes cannot ever. You will never make a coyote go extinct unless there's like an extinction event, like a meteor. But humans and predators cannot ever make coyotes extinct.
Why is that?
They're so fucking smart, and if you start killing them, the females start having more pups, so their litters get bigger, and they're very smart. They're smarter. Coyotes. Wolves are kind of dumb. Like the way they were getting them back in the day, a lot of the times, like poison was one. Another one, they take like razor blades and put blood on it, and a wolf will just lick it until you start licking it, and it's just it tastes more blood, and it's its own blood from its tongue. It'll end up dying like that. People have done some horrific acts trying to get rid of some of these animals. Well, now we've gotten to a point where science has deemed how many predators like that should be allowed on a certain landscape. Because if you get wolf packs too big, they start decimating deer population, elk population, moose population, whatever is in that area. They'll take over and just start decimating the population out there. And there's a certain amount of number that these these scientists, game wardens and stuff, they say this is about X amount of numbers, we can sustain this many. But once it gets more, we have to start we have to start killing some of them. We just have to. They start coming they just get out of control. And when you get states like Colorado, I think Colorado recently had them introduced, and they said, we're going to introduce them, but when it gets to a certain point, then we will start killing them. Well, they got to that certain point. And then advocates and animal rights activists said, no, you can't be doing this. And so they started getting more. And there's different areas. I'm from Michigan. You can't find a deer in upper Michigan anymore. The wolves have just taken over. It's crazy. So there's this fine, delicate act you have to do and be okay with. And everybody loves wolves because they're wolves. They're beautiful. They're majestic. You know, you see cartoons, you see stuffed animals of them, and you just can't believe they're like a dog. How can you kill a dog? But they're just not.
They're wild.
They're wild. But the other thing is we don't really eat them, and which people have a problem with. Like, you can't just kill predators and use their fur or whatever. So there is a bit of a distaste for just killing these animals without eating the meat, if you will. And it's a delicate subject is all. And I don't know. I just think I don't like animal rights activists saying, hey, stop hunting these wolves, because it's coming from a place of uneducation. It's coming from a place of emotions. And if hunting, if the government sucks. The government doesn't do a thing right, I don't think, in my opinion. There's too many bureaucrats and stuff. But when it comes to game and fish departments, the government, for some reason, has that down. They just do. It's a passion of these people that get out and they count how many animals are, all these different animals, to understand how many hunting licenses they can hand out. Because deer need to be hunted. Elk need to be hunted. If we don't hunt these things and kill enough of them, they start to suffer as a population. We want animals to die quickly and not be affected by overpopulation stuff. So it's just a need that has to be done. And it's done with deer and elk, and it also needs to be done with these predators like bear and wolves. And so that's what I want to talk to you about when you post your wolves thing. Like, we need to stop these hunting things. Like, if a state says we can hunt these wolves, that means there's a number that needs to be. There needs to be.
That was my question. Then I was about to ask you. So where
There
do
needs to be
where do you draw the line? How many?
They draw the line. They know what the science is. They say, well, this X amount of wolves will eat this amount
Of deer.
Or whatever, and then so we allocate this many tags to be killed for wolves, and that also affects on deer. You can't just get unlimited deer. There's a certain amount of deer you're allowed to shoot as well.
Yeah.
And so every different animal, it's very, very, very well regulated. This is not taken lightly. This isn't just people that just want to kill these mean wolves. They don't want to do that. I mean, there's plenty of ranchers out there that want to take care of them because they're eating their cattle. I mean, there's a lot of business that gets involved with this, but it's just a whole landscape problem, and it's just it's tricky and it's sad, but it is what it is. And like these are things that do need to be taken care of, and it's done from science, and it's done from education and population control and making everything better. It's not, oh, let's get rid of these evil wolves because they might eat my kid. No, it's they're eating too many livestock on these ranches, and they're decimating deer and elk population in these different areas. And then when you start introducing, so a lot of these states, because a couple hundred years ago we were getting rid of them, it affected the population of deer and elk, and then they started there weren't any wolves hunting them, and so they didn't know how to handle it. And then they reintroduced these wolves into these certain areas outside of Yellowstone and Colorado and such. And then they just decimating these animals because they haven't had to deal with them in like 200 years, generations. So
then you agree that it's about balance then?
it is 100% about.
So,
it is 100% about balance. Yes.
Yeah. So no, I mean hunting. I know has been going on since cave. I mean that's what they hunted.
Yeah.
Yeah, since life. So, but I think after I'm not a reader. I do research.
Mm-hmm.
So before I even posted that, I did notice that there were. From what I read, again, I don't know how factual it is, but I was reading that there was just too much killings of these wolves. They were killing more than what they were supposed to. Like you said, they're supposed to keep a tagged amount of how many, but they were just getting off. Because you also
How would they know that?
Well, I don't know. That's what I was reading. So I mean, because of the population, how does anybody know what the population is of any kind of creature?
They count them.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. So whoever's counting them is probably figuring out they're killing too many wolves. We have too many wolves now.
The people that are in charge of counting them, then say, we gave 100 tags last year. We can only do 20 this year because we've lost too many. But when you get these animal rights activists out there, like, oh, well, one's too many. You're killing too many. Like, where are you getting your number? How do you know too many? Like, you're not out there counting. You're not really in the field out there researching this stuff.
No, I went there. I was researching it myself.
Around the woods?
Just the way you looked at me. You totally looked at me like you're so fucking lying. You're lying on my podcast, Josh.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be the first.
But no, so yes. So when I posted that, then you probably was like, okay, Josh has a strike against him.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because I know where it comes from.
Yeah.
Because
and just so you know, I don't post just to post. Anything I'm posting, I do the research on. There's so many people that just post to post shit.
Of course.
That makes no sense. That's totally off-brand.
Yeah.
That is totally off-brand for me, the wolf thing.
Yeah.
But I also read into it before I just blast it on.
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
Yeah, so yeah.
I get it, and I know where it's coming from. Oftentimes you'll hear me say, I don't care what you think, I care how you think. And if you're wrong, if I think you're wrong about something, but you're coming from a good place, like vegetarians or vegans, I think they're completely wrong, and I think they're anti-human species. Like they're like, you're a traitor. We're supposed to be eating meat. However, I know where it's coming from. Most of the time, vegans, vegetarians, they're just nice people that don't want to harm other living things for the most part, a lot of times, and I can get down with that. I'm fine with that. I don't want you shoving it down my throat like you're morally superior to me because I eat a cow, but I know where it's coming from. And like, so the wolf thing, I didn't give a strike against you. I'm like, oh, I know where you're coming from. It's a nice thing. I feel like, oh my God, they're telling me that there's too many wolves being killed. Are we going to lose these beautiful creatures? But really, in reality, no, it's very well, very, very well regulated and needs to, because we have so many other animals that need to be protected against them. Wolves need protection against us, and that's where those tags come from. And that's where an elk and deer need protection from overrun with predators. Hey, thanks for watching this 5-minute clip of the podcast. If you would like to enjoy the full version, you can only catch that on patreon.com/Neandertalk podcast. And you can do it for as little as $1 a month, and that'll get you all the video versions of the podcast. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you watching this at least.